Good morning and welcome to our open forum with UCF Public Safety. We're here today to gain a better understanding of UCF Public Safety, who they are, the work they do, and how all members of the UCF community can support a safe, secure, and well campus environment. My name is James Evans, and I'm the Student Government Safety and Transportation Coordinator. I appreciate all of you being here today for what I know will be an informative and productive conversation. Let's begin with introductions of our panelists. I'm going to ask that each panelist introduce themselves and share a brief overview of their background and role with Ucfpd. Chief Metzger.
Good morning. I'm Carl Metzger, Associate Vice President for Public Safety and Chief of Police. I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, the first 26 at the Orlando Police Department, and the last 7 here at UCF. Go Knights, charge on. I have a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Florida, but don't hold that against me. I do have a master's degree in criminal justice from UCF. The focus areas that we deal with regularly at the UCF Police Department start with mental health, and I don't think any other agency does mental health better than we do. We work very hard at it. We were the first agency to be 100% crisis intervention team trained. That's the gold standard for mental health training in law enforcement. And we regularly save students, and just 6 on the top of parking garages just this past year. So we're very proud of the work that we do, and I'll get into more detail as we go on through the presentation. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Deputy Chief Zambri.
Well, first, good morning. Thanks for joining us for those online and here. I've been with the University of Central Florida Police Department for about 28 years. I started out originally as a student, so I received my bachelor's here and my master's here. You know, if you know anything about UCF and you've been here a while, it's a place you don't want to leave and you love. A family of Knights we have at my house. So, you know, as Chief Metzger says, you know, go Knights, charge on. But, you know, my career is mostly focused on different things within the department, almost every area. Spent a little time with some task forces for the FBI. Beyond that, I've spent most of my time here working with students, faculty, staff at UCF.
Commander Mangan.
Hello, my name is James Mangan. I am the Regional Patrol Commander for UCF Police. I've been with UCF Police for a little over 20 years. Right now, as Regional Patrol Commander, I'm over our downtown units. So we patrol the downtown area for the downtown UCF and Creative Village.
Commander Vargas.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Pablo Vargas. I've been with UCF Police Department for 15 years. I came from Miami in 2002 as a student, graduated in 2006. I was sponsored to the Police Academy in 2006. And my time here at UCF, I've been a K-9 handler, I've been in the Criminal Investigations Divisions, and I am currently the main campus patrol commander.
And Commander Bray.
Good morning, my name is Amelia Bray. I'm a commander here in our Criminal Investigations Division. I have been in law enforcement for 18 years. The first 10 was at Tysel Police Department and the last 8 here. I'm never leaving, just in case y'all want to know. This is the best place ever. I have a wide variety of experience as well over the 18 years, 6 of that roughly investigations in one form or another.
So keeping UCF a safe place to learn, live, and work and study is a big job, and our police officers can't do it alone. We also have representatives from Victim Services, Emergency Management, and Security Management here today to address any questions within their areas. I have some questions I would like to ask our panelists, but I hope all of you will also be a part of this conversation. For those in the room, please come to the microphone and ask your question, and for those online, you can comment your question and we'll ask it on your behalf. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, I'll start. Chief Metzger, what is community-oriented policing, and what does Ucfpd do that allows you to say that that's your approach?
Community-oriented policing is a proactive law enforcement approach that relies on partnerships between law enforcement and the community, and it involves partnering and problem solving and dealing with the underlying causes of crime. This isn't new. back in 1829, Sir Robert Peel really started what I would think modern policing, and community-oriented policing was a big part of it. One of his mantras was, the people are the police and the police are the people, and we embrace that here at the UCF Police Department. We often say we're community policing on steroids because everything we do is about partnering with our faculty, staff, and students to solve problems and make our campus safer. Some of the best examples, we have a Chiefs Advisory Council. It's a cross-section of our faculty, staff, and students. We get together several times a semester, and we talk about high liability issues, policies, training, current events, and issues around campus. Some of the ideas that come up, it's interesting to get perspectives from our student side especially. We had a spate of, I think I talked about it earlier, our officers saving some suicidal individuals on the top of our Libre garage, which is the tallest garage on campus. And a couple of our students, they suggested that we put up signage just with information about suicide prevention and resources available for our students to text or call. And that's not something we had thought of before. We talked about it with CAPS, with SDES, and we made it happen. And in less than 2 weeks, maybe 3, we had the signs up. So that was one of many examples of us partnering with the community to get things done. And I could go on about how we do partner and solve problems, but I'll leave it at that, and if there's time at the end, I'll get into more details.
So one of the big things that the UCFPD works with a lot is game days. How do you partner with the campus and then also other departments on game days to make sure that students are safe?
James, that's a great question. I guess the bigger question is, who don't we partner with on game day? Because really we partner with so many entities around campus, between athletics, SDES, Greek and sorority life, you name it, and we partner with them. Tailgating is a big responsibility. We can have as many as 10,000 partiers on Memory Mall. And then we have a few thousand more sometimes at Lake Claire. So that's a big responsibility, keeping everyone safe just in those environments for several hours leading up to football. And then we have, now we're up to 23 law enforcement agencies assist us on game day. And making sure that everyone understands that we provide a higher standard of care here at UCF. So we brief very hard and make sure that our law enforcement partners understand their responsibilities. And we do football game days very, very well. And they've been very safe, and we're very proud of the work that we've done in that regard.
Commander Vargas. Commander Vargas, are UCF officers real cops? What's the difference between UCF PD and other local law enforcement agencies?
James, thank you for that question. To answer that, yes, we are real cops. We're all state certified law enforcement officers, and we all attend the basic law enforcement recruit class. Right now, currently as it stands, it's 770 hours, approximately 6 months of academy time. After that, we graduate into our FTO program, which is our field training officer program, which is another 6 months of developing officers. And we do a lot of in-classroom stuff. We go over different scenarios, a lot of the legal stuff, and then we put them on the road with field training officers, and they're basically exposed to the environment. They start with baby steps and work their way up to where they're basically being shadowed, and the field training officer is just watching them. So yes, we are. I had that same question when I came to college, and we do, to answer the second part of your question, is our cops are very invested into our jurisdiction. And I'm not saying that others aren't, just like what Chief said, the continuum of care and how we do things with the time that we have, we do it right. So I think that's what really sets us apart, is that we are invested in this community. We care about our students, faculty, staff, and a lot of us are alumni. A lot of us have family members that are actually coming to UCF. So for us, it's personal. I truly care about this place. I love UCF. UCF's always been like a second home to me. So I always am very appreciative of what this university has given me and also what this police department has given me. So that makes it very personal for us. And I think you could say it about a lot of our officers, if not most.
And along that train of thought, how often are y'all recertified and retrained?
You talking about like...
Is it yearly or twice a year or every other year?
We do constant training, so we're constantly being trained. We do firearms qualifications several times a year. But, I mean, you name it, we're doing the training. So there's not one set of having to go to, like, the academy again. So we do a lot of stuff in-house constantly.
Awesome, thank you. Commander Mangan, what is the relationship between OPD and UCFPD at the downtown campus, and who responds when?
Oh, so downtown we have a great working relationship with OPD. I meet regularly with the city and also my counterpart, the captain for downtown. Our squads meet with the other squads, their sister squads for OPD's divisions downtown. We have mutual aid with them, so if we ever need them or they ever need us, we're right there. We also have made contacts with Orange County School Police, which is right across the street from our substation downtown, and we've assisted them several times when they've had protests. So it works out well the way that we have it. We actually, today we're doing a train track enforcement detail with the City of Orlando to help keep the train tracks safe around Creative Village, because if there is a crash there with a train and a car or a pedestrian, it could be one of our students or staff, or it would at the very least impact the travel and safety for that area. We also work with City of Orlando by partnering technology. They have access to our Lpr systems, license plate readers in their garages, and we have access to theirs through the same system. So if there's an unsafe situation, we know what's going on in each other's jurisdictions. As for who responds, the UCF footprint is kind of spread out in Creative Village. We have several different buildings. So UCF will respond to any calls for service in our buildings or any of the UCF property. If we see something occurring, like an in-progress crime, within 1,000 feet of any of those buildings, then we'll also take action if we see something that's not safe. But we're always willing to walk a student or staff member to their car, even if it's off campus a little bit. We want our staff and faculty to feel safe. And a third piece to that is Valencia College security, because we also are partners with Valencia. So we routinely meet with Valencia's security management, and they actually have a security officer there during the daytime also. And that allows us to cooperate a lot because half of our students, it seems like, are Valencia students down there.
And you mentioned the Lpr system. Can you explain that a little bit more for students who may not know what that is? Sure.
So we have a license plate reader program on the main campus, and when we developed our downtown campus, we have them in both of our garages there. And what it does is it will alert us if a stolen vehicle is coming onto campus. We can also use it for, if there's a person of concern, like somebody that's been trespassed or been arrested several times by UCF or is like maybe stalking a person, a student, we can enter them into the database also, so we'll know if they're on campus. So it's a force multiplier, right? Because many times if someone's going to do a car burglary, so before I came downtown, I was our investigations commander, and many times if they do car burglaries or if they're going to burglarize a store, they're stealing vehicles and bringing them on the campus to commit the crimes. So this gets them before they can actually start committing the crimes.
Thank you. Deputy Chief Zambri, what technology and training does UCFPD use to de-escalate situations and avoid use of force?
Thanks for the question, James. Well, first, let me address philosophy. So it starts with philosophy on how we deal with people, how we engage people, and slowing things down, talking to people, finding out what's going on, so that way, there's no bias walking into a situation, jumping to conclusions. So that's the first thing we do. We really make sure that our folks have a sound philosophy in making this a great place for folks to come to visit, to study, enhancing the student experience and making it a good place for our students, faculty, and staff. So we start with that philosophy, and that starts at recruitment, and then drives into our training. So our training, there's a number of things we focus on. We focus on things like procedural justice. And what procedural justice is, it's about being a fair, impartial, and transparent. So that way everyone in the community knows what we do, how we police. And the last thing, there's one more component, which is being, allowing folks to have a voice in the process. So, you know, if you get stopped for speeding, it makes it a little more palatable if people understand, well, this is a school zone, for instance, or this is where a number of people have been hit, or there's crosswalks here, a lot of pedestrians, and people understand why that's a focus for us versus there's just this place where we like to stop people because there's no thought behind it. So it's important that people understand what's going on, and we give them a voice and let them and listen to their side of the story. So that's one of the things we impart on training. We also conduct de-escalation training for our staff, and again, that's to make sure that our folks know how to de-escalate, slow down a situation, and make it easier for everyone to communicate and take that stress out of it. The other thing that we've implemented is a duty to intervene. So we've trained all our folks and all of our staff, not just through policies, through best practices, on how to intervene if one of the officers or someone in the community is getting a little too excited or a little too emotional. An officer can step up and say, hey, let me go ahead and take this, Officer Smith, and that way they can go ahead and talk to the citizen and essentially take them out of that emotional state. And I think that's really important because not only we've empowered everyone to do that, so it doesn't matter if you're a line officer or a sergeant or where you are, it's your duty to intervene, to go ahead and calm the situation down and have a better outcome. And we've also implemented technology, right? But technology is a tool, so again, it starts with that philosophy and how we deal with folks. For instance, with our tasers, we put yellow handles on the tasers so that way they're easily recognizable versus you know they're not a firearm, you know they're a taser. We also have trained our folks in many ways on how to implement use of force and not just escalating, but de-escalating that force. So that way, as the situation calms down, they're prepared to de-escalate and take a breath. And the other thing we've done is we've implemented a device called Ebola Wrap. Ebola Wrap is a less lethal technology also that basically shoots out 2 balls on a string, which is like bolas, which is a weapon. And what it does, it slows people down. It can detain or their legs, their arms, so that way it is a less lethal way and a really not a very painful way. You know, it might hurt a little bit to stop their actions. That way you can take them into custody, whether it's a mental health situation or something else. It can just kind of slow the situation down. And the other thing that we've implemented years ago was body cameras. So body cameras, there's 2 great things about the technology. One, everyone knows you have a body camera on, so that tends to change the behavior not only of the officer, but also of the subject. So the individual you're dealing with knows they're on body camera, knows that everything is very transparent, and we can look at that later. So I think that that's a good number of factors that we've implemented to enhance how we deal with the public and how we can de-escalate and minimize use of force.
Thank you. And Commander Bray, what type of crimes happen most at UCF?
So theft is one of our biggest issues here at UCF, and it's pretty much anything. Anything you leave behind, electronics, bikes, clothing. And with that, I just want to plug, we do have a property registration system that if you guys aren't aware of, please reach out to the police department or community partnership, and we can register all of your belongings, which will help us recover them a little more easily. We also have a lot of fraud issues, especially it got big over COVID with the emails saying that instructors were looking for pet sitters or part-time employment, and they're sending checks and kids are putting the checks in the bank, and then of course they're out money because they're supposed to take some of that money and buy the pet products or buy the supplies needed for the school. So those are the 2 biggest crimes that we deal with. We also deal with a lot of mental health issues. I know that's not a crime, but again, and I on my paper, I just wanted to also, in case you guys listening don't know the resources that UCF has, we are amazing in the resources that we offer. And I'm just going to give you guys a short blurb of the list, but if you go to UCF Resources, which is studenthealth.ucf.edu/resources, everything that you could ever possibly need is there. We have counseling and psychological services. We have a pantry. We have all of those things. Those are all a big part of, when you go to theft, some people are stealing because they need to eat. They're pawning stuff. It's also not just students. We have a lot of people that come through our campus that are not students, that prey on our students because they're easy targets, because we're trusting. We leave our equipment. If we're in the library, we leave our computer and run to the bathroom, and then when you come back, it's gone. There are, again, phones. People are out playing basketball. They leave their equipment laying in the gym or out on the outside courts. And again, mostly our thieves, I guess I'll call them, are not UCF students. They are people from the outside that are coming in to prey on our students. It's the same with our fraud. Those are a little harder to solve. But our fraud is coming from the outside. It's not students preying on students. It is outside people preying on our students because, again, we're so willing to help, we're trusting, and we leave things out. So, and then sexual assaults. It's not our leading number, but we do have a pretty decent number of sexual assaults, and all of these crimes are just the ones that are reported. There are numerous of all of those that go unreported as well.
Were there any concerns with so many students returning to campus after a year of COVID and being out so much that Ucfpd prepared for?
Not so much. We were excited to have everybody back. We were looking forward to, we love to interact with our students, and so we know that that would up some of our crimes, again, because the bad guys know that kids are back, they haven't been here for a while, and they're ready to again, be out and be on campus. But it hasn't really increased too much in our thefts. People are, I think we've done a good job as a police department of educating our students to see something, say something, right? Look out for each other, report what you see, and so that has made this semester so far be absolutely amazing and smooth because people are looking out for each other. They're a little bit more aware, again, because we've put that out so much that it's really just helping us stay smooth and keep our crime down.
And can you explain what the daily crime log is and where students can find it on the website?
So the so the Ucfpd, the daily crime log is a report of our activities that have been reported to law enforcement. And you guys can go to the Ucfpd webpage under services, and you can click on a link along with, again, a number of other things that are beneficial to students for you guys to know, but it's on our webpage under services.
Awesome, thank you. Commander Mangan, what would you tell a student or staff member that are afraid or untrusting of law enforcement?
Well, first I would say I get it, right? We can be scary at times with uniforms and all the stuff we have on us. And law enforcement hasn't always been on the right side of history. But what I would say is UCF Police cares. And we are trying to do everything we can to make a positive impact in our community. Most of us went to school at UCF. I'm a Knight. I graduated from UCF in 2009. So we want our community to trust us because we are part of the community. An example of that is when I went to became our downtown commander. It's in the Paramore community, which is a historically black neighborhood. And we were coming in, UCF was coming into the Paramore community. Paramore wasn't coming into the UCF community, is the way I was looking at it. And I wanted to figure out how we can make partnerships to increase trust in law enforcement, increase trust in UCF police. So one of the things we did is we went to the Wells-Built Museum, and we sent our officers downtown to the Wells-Built Museum so we can learn the Paramore history, because in order to build bridges and to make partnerships, you have to understand the history of the community. And we learned a lot, and to the point where it was such a good program that we expanded it to all law enforcement officers within UCF Police were given that opportunity to go there. And almost every cop that went there learned something and really liked the experience. We also partner with a lot of the youth programs in the Paramore community because they're all future knights. We want them to come to UCF, right? And so we routinely go to ACE School, and we also go to New Image Youth Center and Paramore Kids Zone. We'll bring our therapy dog, we'll play basketball event with them, we do toy drives and food drives. Anything that we can do to support them, we'll do that. Again, because we're developing future knights, right? And we want them to come to UCF and have successful careers. We also sit on a lot of committees throughout the university so we can hear and listen to other people's concerns with law enforcement in general, not just UCF Police. But that way we can kind of bridge that gap too. But the best thing I could say is if they're not sure about us, stop a UCF police officer and just talk with us. We'll give somebody a ride along if they want to do a ride along with us, and or just talk with us if they're downtown. They can send me an email, give me a call, and we'll have coffee and we'll talk. So I think that's the first step, is just engage us, and we'll be more than happy to do whatever we can to put them at ease, to know that we're here for them. We're servants of UCF.
Thank you. Also, small little plug at this moment for any students watching on the live stream. Student government does host events where you can talk with our Ucfpd officers directly. The next one will be October 19th. It's called Coffee with a Cop. It'll be in the Starbucks on the second floor of the Student Union. Just a small little plug there. Chief Metzger, what type of diversity training do police officers participate in?
James, it's a long list. But it starts with implicit bias training, and we utilize fair and impartial policing, and that's Dr. Lori Fradell. She is the country's preeminent expert on implicit bias in law enforcement. So we invited her in about 7 years ago, and every one of our officers goes through the curriculum of training. And so we circled back and we asked her staff, now what? We've gone through this initial training piece, and we felt like we needed a refresher. And so they actually put together a refresher specifically for the UCF Police Department. They created scenario-based videos for us, and then they liked it so much that they rolled it out for the rest of the country. So we really were the impetus behind that movement. Beyond that, we partnered with our criminal justice program here on campus, put together a procedural justice class just for us, and it went over extremely well. Deputy Chief Zambri spoke briefly about it, but it really is, and my big takeaway was explain what you're doing, and generally people will understand and go with the program, right? So you avoid a lot of problems with just a simple explanation. So slow down and explain. And so it was a very well-received class. Commander Mangan touched on what we've been doing with the Wells-Built Museum. And our officers have gone there, and now it's part of our training curriculum for new officers. They all go down to Wells-Built, they get the tour, they understand the history of the Paramore community, and then African American history in general in this country. It was very eye-opening for me, and we fully support that program, and I can't wait to go back again. Elizabeth Thompson has been a great partner for us, and actually we invited her to be on, and she was the executive director of Wells Built, and she's now on the Chiefs Advisory Council with us. We have put our officers through all sorts of online training, especially through COVID when we couldn't have face-to-face training. Through the Smithsonian African American Museum, they have online modules that our officers completed. De-Escalation Training online through the Department of Justice. And I could go on, but suffice it to say, our officers get a lot of training as it relates to diversity and inclusion.
Thank you. We now actually have a question for Victim Services. If you don't mind introducing yourself. And then the two questions are, is Victim Services confidential? And where can a student find Victim Services? Yeah, you're good.
So yes, Victim Services is a confidential resource, and we are available 24 hours a day. We have a hotline, and you will always get a victim advocate answering the phone, even at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when you're awake, and that number is 407-823-1200. And for those that are a little bit shy and want to remain more anonymous, we have a text line, 407-823-6868, and you can text your questions to the advocate and they will respond. Sometimes the answers are a little bit lengthy, so it may translate to a hotline call as opposed to just texting a long message. But we are available at our main office at 12201 Research Parkway, which is the College of Nursing building. We also have a walk-in office in the Student Health Center in the Orange Pod, so students are able to walk in there and ask questions of the advocate that's in the office between 9 and 3:30. And then we also have an advocate that works at the downtown campus in the police department. So if you have a need of an advocate and you have confidential questions that you'd like to ask us, we're going to go through all of the options that are available, provide you with the most appropriate resources, maybe discuss safety planning, and let you know what services are available both on and off campus.
I'll chime in. Can I get a mic? All right, thanks. I'd like to brag about Director Christine Mouton. I think she is the finest victim service director in the country. We have an amazing victim services program due in no small part to Christine's efforts. And they provide amazing services to our victims of crime. While property crimes are our most common crimes, we do have quite a few dating violence and, unfortunately, sexual violence, domestic violence, and that's really what Christine's team focuses on, and really no one supports better than our victim services. No one investigates in response to these types of crimes, specifically our sexual violence crimes, better than us. It was intentional. We hired Central Florida's preeminent expert on investigations of sexual violence, and his marching orders were make us better. And over the last 7 years, he has, from the patrol response to the investigations. We do it the right way, and we get results. So I'm proud of the work we've done in that area, and I'm proud of Christine, you and your team.
Thank you both. To Commander Vargas, can you share more about the hiring process for UCFPD and who is involved?
Absolutely, thank you. Hiring and recruiting are really one of my true passions. I have one of my lead recruiters in the back, Officer Witherspoon. We and our team work really hard on picking the right fit for this university. Not everyone's meant to be a police officer at UCF. So what we do is we spend a lot of time on the front end meeting people. Officer Witherspoon spends a lot of phone call hours, in-person hours, really vetting that person, right? Because we don't hire in such mass numbers, we like to take our time with finding the right fit. We'll take them for coffee, we'll take them for lunch, we'll really get to know the individual, and I think that really sets us apart because we're not trying to fill 30, 40 vacancies at the same time. We're trying to, at a hiring cycle, we're trying to fit the best 3 to 4 people out there. So I take a lot of pride in the fact that our team really slows it down, we do it right. We offer ride-alongs for anybody who's in the process. We want our police officers that are actually on the road, somebody that's going to be working with that person, to really get the time to meet them, give us their input back. If there's something that they saw during a conversation or encounter that they didn't necessarily like, they'll bring it back to the recruitment team, and we'll try to vet that, have further conversations. So, the chief and the deputy chief have been extremely supportive in our recruiting efforts of taking the time to pick the perfect candidate to be a UCF police officer. It's a 30-year investment, right? It's a big deal. It's a 30-year, probably after 30 years, it's $1 million investment that you're putting into somebody, and we can't get that wrong. And that's why, you know, I've taken such a big passion in what we do is because that person's going to be with this community for 30 years and probably long after I'm gone. So I want to make sure that we pick the right people. We've created a team of recruiters that span from, you know, our detectives, our community policing units, patrol officers, sergeants, you name it. We try to put a team together to basically vet that person as best we can. So we take them out for coffee. It's not just me, and then I'll say, Officer Witherspoon, what did you think about this person? I like this. I was concerned about this. So we'll bring that up to the next cop, and they'll try to vet that out too. So like I say, we spend a lot of time in the front end, probably 6 or 7 months just meeting them before we even put them through the process. After that, then we start, you know, we have a physical agility test. We do in-person 3-panel interview. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but it's all about the right fit, and that's I think we do that very well here, is just finding the right person for this university.
And we have a follow-up question for that. With a new hire coming in, obviously UCF is its own small little community, small town basically that runs. How do you handle UCF-specific training, such as dealing with residence halls, etc.?
Well, we really, the biggest thing is we partner with our community members. We're very invested and very involved with fraternity and sorority life. We attend their meetings. Our community partnership is really great with that. On patrol, we encourage our officers to get out there and get out of their cars and meet the community members. And it's not just a wave, it's actually getting inside some of these residence halls, these communities, spending time, having a cup of coffee with them, having a conversation. So that's really, I mean, it really is one of those things that it becomes something that, especially the new recruits, they learn. You know, when they see their trainees getting out and you walk around the student union, you know people, right? Just like you and I say hi all the time. It's a relationship, right? We pride ourselves on having great relationships around this campus. Again, these 15 years for me have been amazing because a lot of these people that started as mentors when I was a sophomore in college are now really good friends of mine. So those relationships is what we really try to work on here. And we have a new program that I want to plug real quick too, which I thought was really cool, and is our Backpack to Badges program. We just sent 3 UCF students sponsored to the police academy. So it's our first rollout of this Backpack to Badges program, and we're really proud of it. So, get all the credit.
We actually have a question for emergency management and security management. Essentially, what are you? What do you do? How do students need to know about emergency management and security management at UCF?
Hey, good morning. I'm Joe Thalheimer. I'm the Director of Emergency Management. Tell you a little bit about emergency management. Emergency management are the planners. We come up with the emergency plans that UCF will have to implement in the event of an emergency. So we prepare for and we help recover from any disaster that might affect us, whether it's a building fire, whether it's a hurricane, you know, civil unrest, things like that. That's all done at the emergency management level. And we also are responsible for continuity of operations. So what do we do if we can't conduct business as usual? COVID was a great example of that, us getting all of our services to the cloud or getting them remote so that people could go about their daily business pretty much as close to normal as possible given the circumstances. As far as security side of the house, security is responsible for your cameras and your access controls, so determining placement based upon needs of the UCF community and getting them installed and making sure that they're operational and keeping them for public record and things of that nature. So that's what our 2 departments do. Small team, about 7 people, but we invite anybody that wants to know more about UCF emergency management or security to come visit us over at the Emergency Operations Center. Shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll be happy to show you around. It's a really well-kept secret, but that's not intentional. We want people to know what we do and show that we just support the community. Thanks.
Brag about Joe Thalheimer and emergency management and security. We have an incredible team. We were one of the first campus emergency management programs to be accredited, and we're very proud of that. And recently, Joe and his team were recognized by the National Weather Service for their efforts in keeping our campus safe from storms, lightning. If you've been to one of the first two football games, you know that lightning has been an issue. But Joe and his team worked very hard to keep us safe, and we're proud of the work that you do, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you both. And to Commander Bray, as citizens, how can we support police officers?
So I think first, you have to remember that we're all human, right? We're just like you. We chose a profession to keep you safe, right? I mean, we wake up, we do the same things you do. We just are here to protect our community. I think getting to know us and us getting to know you, and again, we've covered it several times at the table, but we want to know who you are. And getting to know who you are allows you to get to know who we are. And we want to work with you. We don't want to take our students to jail. We want to educate you and make you better for the next time, so you don't make that same mistake again, so that we're not here to ruin your lives. People look at cops and think, oh, we're horrible. We're here just to ruin people's lives. That is not any cop I know, but it is definitely not any of us here at UCF. Again, we're here to serve and protect. Just like you guys, we are our public service. It's a calling, teaching, EMT, right, student government. You're here because you want to help educate people and get good information out, and that's what we want to do as well. So anything, again, just getting to know us, come spending time with us. We're always happy to have you guys at the police department. Spend time with us between our internships or just coming in for some interviews or to sit down with us. It doesn't always just have to be at community partnership here. You can come to the main building, and we'd love to introduce you to our criminal investigations division. Our therapy dog lives there, so he likes to always have people around. But it's just getting to know each other is really what's beneficial. And again, just to remember to keep yourself safe and just pay attention, which would also better help us help you when a crime is committed.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Let's see if I can get this off. Cool. So those are all of our questions. Do the panelists have any closing remarks?
Well, I'll jump in. First, it's an honor for us to protect and serve the UCF community. It's been our intention for many years for us to become the most professional, progressive, and innovative campus police department in the country. We think that if we aren't that, we're very close. We're very proud of the work that we do. It's about partnering with our campus community and doing the right thing. And I'm proud of us always focusing on doing the right thing, and I think that we do. So again, if you see something, say something, we'll do something, and go Knights, charge on.
This concludes our time for today. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. Please stay safe and well, and have a great day, everybody.